Well, hello again, and welcome to another Hyperion morning. How are you doing out there? Just going to check to see if my mic is working. Hopefully, you can hear me. Looks like you should be able to. Of course, maybe you don't necessarily want to. That is completely up to you, but happy to be here. Happy Wednesday, Tony. Thanks for coming along on the journey. So good to be with you on this Wednesday, this hump day. Yes, getting over the hump, heading our way towards the weekend. Can't wait for that. Good morning, Marianne. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you along with us as well. You sound good as always. No, I don't always sound good, but thank you, Tony. That is a nice boost of confidence that I could always use, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you for being along here on the journey again, as we just try and get in every day, share some smiles, share some positivity, and hopefully just, help you make it through your week, no matter what you have going on. Hey, Caleb, good morning. So glad you're with us here on the show today. Thanks again for joining us again. And I say this most days. It doesn't matter. Yes, of course, I'd love to have you join me live, but I know this is very early, especially if you're not located on the East Coast, that you're probably not going to be with me. But if you watch me an hour later, 3 hours later, 4 hours later, 10 hours later, if you watch me once, I don't care. I'm just happy you're along, because we are on this journey to try and have some fun, share some positivity, and make this world just a little bit brighter. And I know that that's a lengthy thing to try and accomplish. And I know I'm just a small piece of that, but hopefully, even if you just come on and smile once when you see me on the morning, that's good for me. I feel good about that. And that's what my goal is. And hopefully I'm accomplishing at least a small piece of that. I'm not going to be crazy and think that I'm changing the world here, but I hope that I can just do a little bit something to brighten your day. That is the goal here. And that's what I always will try to accomplish. So what is happening on this day? It is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Happy Wednesday again. We're almost there, getting over the hump, on our way towards the weekend. Things are cooling down here in Florida. We got a little cold front coming through, which it'll be a nice breather. It would have been better last week when we didn't have any air conditioning, but we'll take it. We'll take it, right? We'll do whatever we can. So what are we talking about on this Wednesday? What are we celebrating today? Well, this one's interesting. How about this? This is something I didn't know existed, but apparently it is National Indian Pudding Day. I had no idea what this is, but I found out a little bit more about it as I was doing some research this morning. So this is apparently a traditional New England style dessert that came back all the way from like the first settlers, from the Pilgrims back in that time. Apparently it was something that was kind of transformed for what is called hasty pudding. But when they came here to the United States, to the colonies, to whatever, the New World, they didn't have the wheat that normally they use to make hasty pudding. But they did meet some friendly indigenous people at that time, and they showed them how to cultivate corn, I should say, cultivate maize. And so this developed into this dish, which is basically made of cornmeal, brown sugar, often like molasses or maple syrup. Sometimes they put in raisins, nuts, cinnamon, ginger, ground ginger, eggs, butter, all sorts of stuff. It's kind of cooked in a single pan and it's spooned out, and they use with whipped cream or sometimes ice cream, as you see here. And it sounds delicious, actually. I also saw a recipe that adds a little pureed pumpkin, if you like a little pumpkin. Marianne, I grew up on this. Oh, that's interesting. I've never had it, but then I didn't grow up in New England, so maybe that's why. But that's awesome. Did you like it? Did you like it, Marianne? Is it a favorite of yours? I think it looks fascinating. And it's got all the things I love. I love cinnamon. I love ground ginger, love brown sugar, molasses, maple syrup, ice cream. I love it all. So maybe I'll be trying to make this sometime soon. Maybe today is the good day for that. It's delicious. Okay, good to know, Marianne. Thanks. So glad you let us know. I'm glad we had somebody here who's experienced it. That's fantastic. So very, very cool. What else is happening? Are we celebrating on this day in Disney history? Well, on this day in 1940, Fantasia premiered at New York's Broadway theaters. Yeah, Fantasia, classic Disney film. One of the best pieces of animation to ever exist in the entire history of animation, for sure. It introduced stereophonic sound via what was called it was kind of a special system that was called Fantasound. Wasn't a big hit in the theaters to begin with. That's mostly because it was a limited release. It was so specialized that they couldn't release it in a lot of theaters. Matter of fact, they did a kind of a road show with it that it went through 13 cities from 1940, 1941, also 1941. Something else was going on in the world at that time. Later became obviously a big cult hit and a smash hit, and everybody appreciates it now. But at that time, did not really do well. But it is an amazing, amazing piece of art. There's no question about that, for sure. Also, I read this. It was interesting that RKO, who was doing a lot of the releases of films at the time, didn't want to release it because it was too long at 2 hours and 4 minutes. Just think about that and what some of the modern movies are now. That 2 hours and 4 minutes was way too long at that time for them to release. So that was a part of it. Also, of course, like I said, the new form of sound and everything else that went along with it. But very, very interesting. This is, by the way, the month of premieres, because Disney likes to premiere stuff around Thanksgiving. And yes, 1991 was another huge one for the Walt Disney Company, for Disney Animation, because Beauty and the Beast had its world premiere at the El Capitan Theater on this day in 1991, released fully in theaters on November 22nd. But this was its premiere day. And of course, we know what a smash hit, what a classic Beauty and the Beast has become. I will say, hey, hashtag Real Men Love Frozen, but probably my favorite all-time animated film is Beauty and the Beast. I mean, ask me an hour from now, I'll change it to something else. But right now, I will say Beauty and the Beast is my all-time favorite. It's such a wonderful movie. It was the first ever animated film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And that was when there was only 5. There were only 5 nominations, not like now when there's like 9 nominations. So it's a little bit easier to get in. Still the only animated film that ever was nominated for Best Picture when there were only 5. Didn't win, lost to Silence of the Lambs. It did win the Golden Globe for Best Picture Comedy or Musical that year. And it did win, of course, the Academy Award for Best Song for Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, who unfortunately had passed away by the time that award was given out. But for Beauty and the Beast, Best Song it had 3 songs nominated, which is amazing, and it is. And it also won for Best Score as well. Alan Menken won that. So amazing, amazing film for sure. And this day in Broadway history, in 1997, The Lion King made its Broadway debut at the New Amsterdam Theater in New York, obviously Broadway, and became a smash hit. Won 6 Tony Awards, including the Best Musical in 1998, and went on to be one of the longest running musicals in Broadway. It's still one that I don't know if Michelle's seen it. I have not seen it yet. I've had chances. It just hasn't turned out, hasn't meshed with the schedule. Really, really want to see this one really, really badly. Hopefully it'll come around at some time that it works with my schedule, because the puppetry and everything else about it is supposed to be amazing. And of course, we know the wonderful music and the storyline and how fantastic that is. Looking forward at some point to seeing this in person, whether maybe, if it is in New York and they're showing it on Broadway again. I don't know if it's going on right now on Broadway, but if they ever reopen it there, if it's not, or definitely on a touring, because that's still happening. Lots of touring companies out there. Hopefully it can do that. Also, another great premiere on this day in 1999, Toy Story 2 made its debut, its premiere, I should say, in theaters, or at the El Capitan Theater. So it's his world premiere at the El Capitan Theater, of course. Tom Hanks, Woody, Tim Allen, Buzz Lightyear, so many other great characters making their return. So all the toys that we love dearly back in the theaters. Later, it also, just like with Beauty and the Beast, it came out on November 22nd, widespread. But on this day, it world premiere at the El Capitan Theater, and just a great, great film. I don't know if it's our favorite Toy Story film, but it's definitely, again, it's one of those things. Ask us tomorrow. Toy Story 2 will be our favorite. Toy Story 3, the original groundbreaking Toy Story, will be our favorite. Toy Story 4, not our favorite. I like it okay. That's more than most people do. But definitely, I wouldn't rank it above some of these other films. But yeah, I love Toy Story 2 and world premiere on this day. Hey, if it's your birthday, November 13th, a very happy birthday to you. Here is some of the people that you celebrate your birthday with, and they all have Disney ties. Every single one of these people have some sort of tie to Disney. How about the great writer, producer, director, Gary Marshall? He was born on this day in 1934. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2016, but he would have been 90 today. Of course, did so much great stuff with television and movies, including The Odd Couple, Happy Days, as far as movies, Pretty Woman, Touchstone release, Disney, and of course, The Princess Diaries as well. Just so many fantastic things that he's done over his career. Gary Marshall, fantastic producer more than anything else. Disney legend Whoopi Goldberg. She turned 69 today, born on this day in 1955. Of course, so many great movies, including The Color Purple, Sister Act, but then also, of course, the host of The View. Just great things, and make so many appearances for Disney as well, including the Candlelight Processional as well, coming up here very, very soon. Jimmy Kimmel, late night host, of course, born on this day, 1967. He turns 57 today, AB show, Jimmy Kimmel Live. He is fantastic host, also hosts the Academy Awards often. Very, very good. Steve Zahn, yes, if you know him, we love him in That Thing You Do, but also recently he's done The White Lotus. Also plays the drummer in many of the Phineas and Ferb episodes. So that's where his Disney tie lies. But love Steve Zahn. He also turns 57 today, born in 1967. And Julia Michaels, singer, songwriter. She turns 31 today, born on this day in 1993. She's done stuff for Disney, including recently writing the music for Wish, and which is a soundtrack. No matter what you think about that film, I think the soundtrack is phenomenal. I love the film, but the soundtrack is definitely fantastic. Also sang in what was it? Ralph Breaks the Internet, a place called Slaughter Race. You can hear her in the post-credit scene. She sings that song. Man, that's a banger, man. That is really, really good as well. So wishing them all a very happy birthday. And again, if it is your birthday, a very happy birthday to you. All right, wrapping things up on this Wednesday. Everybody have a phenomenal day today. We're getting over the hump, on our way to the weekend. It'll be here again before you know it. Enjoy it. We're going to get through it, and we'll have some great days ahead. Everybody, hey, just want to say, please, be kind to everybody, smile, be positive, spread that positivity, spread that kindness. It's always a great day for that. And this day is just the same as all the rest. So everybody have a phenomenal Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m., sharing some more kindness, some more smiles, and some more positivity. Until that time, everybody, have a magical day. Bye.